Okay. Good morning. I'm Joyce Valley, Director of District 6, and I'm thankful for serving your district director for 15 years. I would like to welcome those of you here in person and those of you joining us virtually for your district meeting. Please enjoy today's meeting, and I am pleased to invite our board chair, Tom Jennen, to come up and share some of the great things going on in our co-op. I'm sorry that I'm not able to speak, but I don't think I could keep your attention to read all of this. So, Tom Jennen.
Thank you, Joyce. I'm the chair, Tom Jennen, and good morning. And I would like to mention that that a recording of this meeting is also being made available to our members so that they may watch it at a later time. It's also being live streamed. A gathering like this district meeting drives home the point that Lake Region Electric Co-op is different from other utilities. We're different because we put our members at the center of everything, and that is something powerful. We continue to enter exciting times in our cooperative's history. We have continued implementing new technologies, entering new markets, creating ways to provide our members with savings, and added conveniences to enhance the quality of life for each of our members. I know that it has been an honor for Joyce to represent District 6 for the last 15 years. As most of you are aware, Joyce is unable to run for the director position again because of the term limit for our co-op directors is 15 years. There has never been a day that Joyce took the responsibility of representing the district lightly. She has been blessed to have the opportunity to work and make decisions with directors representing the other districts over the years. It is our sincere hope that you all feel your voices have been heard and that your board has made decisions that have advanced the objectives of the cooperative. I know Joyce will miss being the director. She will miss the monthly meetings, the robust discussions regarding the ever-changing industry, and the constant learning that is required to serve as an effective director. Joyce is thankful for all the support you have provided her through the years, and we hope that the next director of District 6 will cherish all the rewarding experiences with being a director for this great co-op. LREC is in a strong financial position right now. Lake Region Electric achieved its goal of 45% equity last year, which demonstrates the financial strengths of the co-op. We continue to focus on rate stability, and I am pleased to announce that we have raised rates only once in the last 9 years. This is amazing considering the rising costs of so many things that we rely on in our daily lives. New technology continues to be adopted and incorporated by Lake Region to assure our members the most reliable service we can provide. I would like to thank our employees who have made it their priority to engage with our members through events such as the Coffee with the Co-op. The feedback from these events have been very positive, and we greatly appreciate the members who attended those events. Lake Region Cooperative wouldn't be in the business if not for all of you, our member owners. You are the reason for our existence, and you share in our success. We need a meeting chair for this district meeting to preside over the nomination process. I would propose that our attorney, Chad Festool, be the meeting chair for the district meeting. Does anyone have any other nominees to act as chair of the meeting? Okay, thank you. Your chairman for the meeting is Chad Festool. If a vote is needed for candidates for the board of directors, voting will occur in person here by paper ballot. The voting process will only be needed if there are more than 2 nominees for candidates for the director position. If there is only one candidate to be nominated, no voting is required, and he or she will be placed on the ballot and elected by acclamation unless there is a petition candidate, and then both of the nominated candidate and the petition candidate will be placed on the ballot. I'm glad you could join us to learn more about Lake Region Cooperative and participate in the local democracy by participating in the nomination process. Before we begin the nomination process, I want to introduce the rest of the Board of Directors. Their picture and district are listed on the screen. Kurt Kruger, District 1. Cecil Bud Hensel from District 2. Mike Brazel from District 3. Earl Rydell from District 4. Patrick Myers from District 5. Joyce Valley from District 6. And I'm Tom Jenin from District 7. Sid Wisnes from District 8. And Robert Shaw from District 9. Our meeting continues now with nominations. Our meeting chair will guide us through the process. Chad, will you please come forward?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There are two ways that an individual can become a candidate for the Board of Directors. The first is through the district meeting, which is why you are all here. The second is through a written petition after the Director District meeting, where the individual petitioning to be a candidate must receive at least 50 original and signed signatures from the members in the district in which that individual is seeking to be nominated. There are other requirements for the petition process, and that can be found in our bylaws, Article 4, Section 4.4b. As chairman for this district meeting, I have appointed Greg Larson to serve as recording secretary. I have also appointed Penny Rydell and Dwayne Valley to act as tellers for this district meeting if voting is required. The tellers will physically count the ballots cast by those of you here in person and to certify to the members of this district the results of that election. Since there are more than 10 members present here from District 6, I declare that we have a quorum. The qualifications for the director are listed on the screen before you. Oh, they're in the handouts, excuse me. Not on the screen, but in the handouts. We would ask that when you make a nomination that you speak clearly, identify yourself, and identify and spell the individual's name who you are nominating. Are there any questions about the director nomination process or the qualifications? Hearing none, I would declare the nomination process to be open. Again, when you make a nomination, please state and spell your name for the record. According to our bylaws, the nomination process must remain open for 2 minutes. A time clock on the screen will indicate when nominations are closed. Are there any nominations? All right, you were first in the back. Can you please state your name?
Bill Janiszewski, Janusewski.
Thank-
I nominate Charlie Blixt, and that is B-L-I-X-T.
Thank you. Yes.
I'm Lila Sauer, Lylasaurder, and I nominate Denise Hendrickson, DenisHendrickson.
Thank you, Lila. Yes, sir.
I'm Jim Offrey, AAPRE, and I'd like to nominate myself.
All right. Thank you, Jim. Joyce.
I'm Joyce Valley, last name Valley, V-A-L-L-E-Y. The name has been given to me is Carrie Trupka, last name T-R-U-P-K-A.
Thank you, Joyce. Yes.
My name is Tammy Blado, B-L-A-D-O-W, and I'd like to nominate Todd Blado, B-L-A-D-O-W.
Thank you, Tammy. Any other nominations? I see our time clock has paused a little bit, so I will say that we're about 1 minute and 15 seconds left, unless anyone has any objection with that. And now we get to sit here for 1 minute and 15 seconds, unless anyone has any other nominations. Are there any other nominations? "30-second warning. Any other nominations? "15 seconds. Any other nominations? All right. If there are no other nominations, I would entertain a motion that the nominations for director be closed. Would someone be willing to make that motion? Thank you. Do we have a second? All right. It has been moved and seconded for the director nominations to be closed. Those in favor signify by saying yes. Those opposed signify by saying no. The motion carries. Would the nominees please stand? Charlie, Denise, Jim, Carrie, right? I want to make sure it was Carrie, not Kari, and Todd. To the best of your knowledge, do you meet the qualifications for director? If so, please answer yes.
Yes.
Would any candidates like to speak to the group before the ballots are done? If so, I would ask that you keep your comments to a few minutes or less. So if you would like to speak to the group, it'd be best to come up in front of the microphone. So we'll go in order. Charlie, would you like to speak?
Sure, I'll speak.
All right. And then it would be Denise, Jim, Kari, and Todd.
Thank you. I convinced my wife to come today to nominate me. Thank you, Bill, for taking her off the hook. I'd just like to say a couple of things about my experience in the community. I've been a school board member of Pelican Rapids Pelican Rapids Public Schools for 11 years. I no longer serve on that board. Two-time president of Trinity Lutheran Church, scoutmaster of the Boy Scout troop for over a dozen years, worked with over 70 Eagle Scouts. I also volunteer coach wrestling at the high school. And I have a experience in the business of insuring both commercial ag businesses and energy companies, particular petroleum. I have worked for CHS, so I'm familiar with the co-op system and the way it works. And I also do risk management through the insurance business with a number of other co-ops, so I do understand the co-op system. And I'd appreciate your support for me as a director on this board. I'm truly interested in it, and we'll put in the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. Denise, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, I will.
All right.
Good morning. I'm Denise Hendricks. We live in rural Otter Tail County, Elizabeth Township. I've been married to my spouse, Robert, for 42 and a half years. We started farming together in 1982. For all of you that have gray in your hair, you will remember interest rates went up to 23.5%, and we had to have a very sharp pencil to make ends meet. I've had quite a journey since then. We have 3 grown children. I am semi-retired. I retired in 2014 from the Department of Corrections. I am a psychiatric nurse, and I worked inpatient with the mentally ill and dangerous for about 6 years. I have a PhD in people. I am currently semi-retired. I work PRN as a nurse. I've been on the school board for Our Lady of Victory School in Fergus Falls. When our children were young, I was a 4-H leader. And during our time in the farming business, not only have we gone from working with dairy, beef, grains, hay. We are now working on a different project, which is retirement. So I will have plenty of time to attend meetings and start another mission in my life. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. Jim?
Yeah, good morning. I'm Jim Ockery. Grew up out at Rollag, Minnesota. That's where all the Ockers are. And today I live over by Phelps Mill, just west of the main substation. Do a little farming there. Recently retired. I taught 3 years of high school at Ortonville, and then 1 year at the University of Minnesota at Waseca, which is a college just like Crookston. Today that college is a penitentiary, so times change. And then I just retired from North Dakota State College of Science of Wapton, North Dakota. Taught diesel mechanics, a lot of hydraulics. I've taught for Caterpillar, John Deere, Case, Komatsu, Bobcat, lots of different companies. Like I say, I farm over by Phelps Mill. I'm married, 5 very talented kids. And I've never been to a meeting like this before, but now that I'm retired, I want to become more involved in something like this, and certainly politics as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Carrie, sorry.
Hello. I came into District 6 back in 1968. That's how long my family has been in this area. We've always had a lake home, and we made it our home this last year. We retired out there, so we moved out there permanently. We have grown children, and in retirement, I want to give back. That's my mantra. I want to give back. A little bit of background about me. I have a master's in curriculum and education, so I've been in education for 33 years. I worked at the state level as a consultant, so I would write standards and assessments on various committees. I was also the manager of the Chamber of Commerce. I like to keep busy. President of Thrivent, or AAL, at our local branch, and we do a lot of, my husband and I do a lot of volunteer and missionary things. So in charge of Thanksgiving dinners and just those types of things. I also do a lot of grant writing, so that's just another piece of what I like to do. I've been involved with NASA, I've been on a couple of expeditions with them. And it was always in the field of energy. So that's just the area that I had an interest in. An aerospace educator and heliophysics educator. About 3 years ago, I was out to Rhode Island and we visited the offshore wind farm that we have in the United States. It's amazing. It's just fun. So what I bring to the table is a little background in finance, strategic planning, some regulatory affairs, standards, and teamwork. I hope to provide solutions for guidance. That's my focus. So thank you, and I appreciate your vote.
Thank you, Carrie. Todd?
Good morning. My name is Todd Blado. I've recently retired after 27 years of service with Cargill. I was their chief maintenance director on their airplanes, took care of the corporate aircraft for that company. Retired, been a resident now for about 4 years out on Jewett Lake. We've had a cabin there for over 30 years, so we've been a customer for quite some time. I'm retired. I would like to spend some time. I find this kind of an interesting position, as I'm kind of interested in the alternative, in different ways that we can support our customers better. I've sat on the City of Shakopee. We used to live down in Shakopee. I sat on the City Council's Planning Commission. I was the president of the Minnesota Business Aircraft Association for a couple of years. I was the head of the Minnesota Corporate Maintenance Association for several years. So I've sat on quite a few boards. Find them all very interesting, and like I said, being retired, I have some time now. I feel much like Kari does. You want to give back. I'm not a politician, so to run for a government office does not interest me, but to work and help people in a co-op that I think has been run very well over the years does interest me. So thank you, and I hope I can get your support.
Thank you, Charlie, Denise, Jim, Carrie, and Todd. The bylaws state that only 2 candidates can be nominated to be on the ballot for the annual meeting. Since there are more than 2 candidates, we get to have an election. The purpose is to reduce the number down to 2, and the highest 2 vote getters will get placed on the ballot for the annual meeting. The order is whoever got nominated first between the 2 will go on the ballot first at the annual meeting, and whoever got nominated second or after that would get placed second on the ballot for the annual meeting. So now, if we have ballots, I would ask that those get passed out. And I believe Dylan will be putting the names of all the candidates up on the board so everyone can see that, and make sure you cast your ballot. Try and print as legibly as you can, and this is coming from an attorney who no one can read my handwriting, so make sure you do it so we can read that. Yeah.
1 vote or 2 votes?
1 vote per person, 1 vote per member. Yep. Sorry, I should have clarified that. Thank you for the question.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Are a husband and wife 1 member or 2?
1 member. Oh yeah, they got the ballots. Yeah, okay, sorry. I'm used to a different process. So in front of you, you have your ballots. So now you can cast your ballots, and Dwayne and Penny and myself will go around and pick up those ballots. And so I'll give you a minute or so here to fill out your ballots, and then we'll grab those and we'll get counting. And then voting results will be announced after our CEO's presentation. Any other questions that anyone has about the voting process? If not, we can collect those ballots, and I would like to invite our CEO, Tim Thompson, to share some words with you all.
Great, am I on? Great. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much to the members who are here today in person on this incredibly cold morning. Also, thank you to the 34 members who have logged on and are joining this meeting virtually with us this morning. We really appreciate your participation. These district meetings are such a special part of Lake Region Electric Cooperative. It's a great opportunity for members to come together at this grassroots level, participate in this process of nominating board of directors, an opportunity to visit with your board of directors, maybe mingle with the employees who are here this morning. I think the thing for me that I like most about these district meetings is just the opportunity to be in a room with the awesome people that we have the privilege of serving every day. In my presentation this morning, I'm going to cover several things. I'm going to talk about the new things we're doing to increase member engagement in our electric cooperative. I'm going to share with you the many things we are doing to keep your electric rates stable. the good things we are doing to make sure that that power flows when you flip that switch in your home. Also going to share with you the really good financial performance of your cooperative for the year 2021. Member engagement. It is so important in an electric cooperative. We want to be that cooperative that has a high level of member engagement. This past year, we rolled out a couple of new programs for our members to increase the engagement across our cooperative. Two of them here. One is our Coffee with the Co-op program. The other one is the Brews and Your Views. These are meetings we schedule around our territory, invite members in to talk about things going on at Lake Region. For example, the Coffee with the Co-op. Those are morning meetings. We pick a cafe out there in your neighborhood, invite you in, provide coffee, donuts, rolls, what have you, and just have a conversation about things going on at Lake Region, things in the industry, things in our community. The Brews and Views meetings. They were scheduled in late afternoon, early evening hours. We'd pick a restaurant or a pub and serve hors d'oeuvres for the members who came in for those meetings. Again, just a great way to connect and learn more about what's going on at Lake Region and get feedback from you, the member owners. Another new thing we did last year, we established a virtual member advisory committee. Same concept as a traditional member advisory committee, but with today's technology, we can now do that even virtually, making it really easy for members to be engaged with their co-op virtually. It's a Facebook platform. We can put questions out there that for members to give us feedback on and answer for us. We can put short videos out there on a variety of topics. We're going to do this for about a year. This information from these members is very useful to us, helps us inform our strategic plan. Thank you to the members who are participating in these new opportunities. Last fall, we did our annual member satisfaction survey. So pleased to know that 2,783 members participated in that survey. When we asked that question, overall, how satisfied are you with your cooperative, Lake Region Electric? We scored an 8.9 on a 10-point scale. 88% of our members gave us an 8, a 9, or a 10 on that survey. As the green line shows on the screen, we're slowly, gradually increasing our customer satisfaction over time. Back in 2017, we were at 8.6. We're now up to 8.9. The most valuable part of that survey, though, is the actual comments that we get back from our members. We study those. We read all of those, try to take action if we can on those. And I'm going to share some of those in my presentation today. They generally consist of several positive comments about things going on in Lake Region, and most of those comments are directed to our wonderful employees who serve you every day, 24/7. We so much appreciate those comments back for our employees. We get comments about our rates, and I'm going to share with you the good news today of our rate stability that we have going on right now, and also going to focus on reliability. In today's world where we live in this climate, reliability is king, as I like to say, and we're doing a lot of things, reinvesting in our infrastructure to make sure you have the reliability that you need in your life. So let's start with rates. Here's a comment up here from a member from one of our surveys. It says, thank you for having some of the lowest rates in Minnesota. Well, if we look just at electric cooperatives, and that's who's in this peer group, we benchmark our rates with a group of 14 electric cooperatives across the state. Lake Region being the green bar here, you can see that for 1,000 kilowatt hours as members of Lake Region, what you and I pay every month, we stack up pretty favorably when we just compare ourselves to electric cooperatives. For 1,000 kilowatt hours for the month, we're second lowest in that peer group. We also get this comment, our rates are too high compared to town residents. The fundamental reason why it's going to generally be a little more costly to provide electricity in the rural areas is because there's so few customers out in that rural area and they're so spread out. The amount of infrastructure that it takes to serve rural customers where we serve and where we live is much different than serving in a town. I hope these two pictures kind of paint that for you. The picture on this side here, beautiful setting, a rural area. What do you see when you drive down that road? You see a lot of electrical infrastructure, poles, wires as you go down the road with a few houses along the way. The other picture of something of a town, what do you see there? You see one pole with a lot of houses, a lot of buildings real close there. just much different economics there for a rural area versus a more urban area. To make this point even more, I'd like to use these examples. Pretend with me that this is 1 mile of power line for Lake Regional Electric, and we have 5,800 miles of power line out there. For every 1 mile, we only have 5 customers per mile of line. So in a co-op, the cost of this mile of line has to be covered by those 5 customers. Now let's compare that to what this power line, if this is Xcel's power line who serves towns and cities, for every 1 mile of power line that they serve 46 customers per mile. That really is the fundamental difference between a rural electric cooperative and an IOU who serves the towns. At the bottom of this slide, just a few numbers for you. We have 5 customers per mile of line, so our monthly facility charge is $24 right here. If you look at Xcel with 46 customers per mile of line, their facility charge only needs to be in that $8 range, so 24 versus 8. That really is the fundamental difference in terms of why things might be more costly in a rural area. When you think about the cost, so you may be wondering, how does our monthly facility charge of $24 compare to other utilities? Again, Lake Region is here in the green. The utilities on this side that are lower than us per month are those investor-owned utilities and those municipals. The co-ops, utilities to the other side of us that are higher, they are generally rural electric cooperatives. Well, what is this monthly facility charge, by the way? Why do we have it? What's it pay for? Maybe those are a question you're wondering about. The $24 facility charge really is designed to cover the cost of all this infrastructure that it takes. So when you get home later today and you hit that light switch in your home, the power flows and that light bulb in your home turns on. So let's talk about all that infrastructure. We'll start at our substation. Each substation to build is about $1 million. We have 30 substations across our large footprint. Of course, it takes a lot of poles and wires to distribute that power out into those rural areas. For a single phase line, that's about $51,000 per mile. For a 3-phase line, about $79,000 per mile. It also takes a lot of operations and maintenance. Just one bucket truck today is about $200,000. Of course, it takes a pole-mounted transformer there, $900 for a transformer installed, and of course your meter at your home or business, about $200 installed. If you think about the $24 a month or 80 cents a day, and you think about all that cost of this infrastructure, the $24 does not recover the cost of all that infrastructure. And this is one of the things that your board of directors is going to be analyzing in the coming months. One of the things we find ourselves in this wonderful position right now. We've got really good financial strength, number one, and we've got rate stability. And because this $24 does not recover all that infrastructure cost, the board is going to be looking further and discussing more in future months the possibility of maybe raising the $24 per month for the facility charge to more accurately recover all these costs, and at the same time reducing the kilowatt hour charge. And we would do this, if the board decided to do it, we would do it on a revenue neutral basis. There's no need right now to collect any more revenue from the membership. And because of this position we're in, if we can up the facility charge, lower the energy charge, it's going to, on a more fair and equitable basis, collect the appropriate costs across our membership. If you're wondering how this would affect our monthly power bill, use myself as example, or maybe all of us in the room, perhaps if we're kind of average users in terms of how much electricity we use in our homes. We're a year-round house, for example. If you're in that average usage category and one component of your bill goes up and the other one goes down on a revenue neutral basis, your total bill for the month, the bottom line, total cost, really won't change much. Now, if you're a small user, a seasonal cabin where maybe you only use electricity, say 6-7 months a year, now if the fixed charge goes up and the variable charge goes down, you'll pay a little more. Now, if you're a larger user, greater than average, the opposite would be true. If the fixed charge goes up, the variable charge goes down, you might actually pay a little bit less. We wanted to give a kind of a heads up about this in the future here. At these district meetings, the board will be looking at it further. We're going to be doing what's called a cost of service study in the coming months to further analyze all these costs and probably come up with some recommendations with the board to make some final decisions on this. But we will be communicating this a lot in the coming months to make sure everybody's aware of any potential rate structure change. Again, this is not intended to bring any new revenue in because of the wonderful financial position we're in. It's more to create a more fair and equitable rate structure for members. Well, the good news, we are in this wonderful position. Tom mentioned only one rate increase in the last 9 years. That was a 4.3% rate increase back in 2017. If you heat your home with electricity and you're on our dual fuel program, that dual fuel rate has not changed since 2008. This is just a forecast, and we all know what forecasts are. They're usually wrong. But everything we can see going forward here, we see rate stability for the membership, which is just wonderful news. Certainly no need to do any rate increases this year in the near term. But as we all know, inflation is real. It's coming into our economy. It's going to have an impact. But we work really hard at Lake Region to make sure that we keep your rates stable. There's a couple of really good reasons why we've been able to enjoy this nice period of rate stability. I want to talk about some of those. The first reason is we have been able to create new revenue streams for Lake Region Electric. And anytime we can create a new revenue stream into the co-op that doesn't come out of our electric rates from the members, that helps us cover the cost of all the fixed costs in this organization. Some of the examples of these new revenue streams, this is a good one, is our new standby generator program. This is really a premium service for members who need that peace of mind that if the power does go out, they've got their own standby generator at their house. It'll automatically come on and power their home through that power outage. When we install these for the members, this creates a new revenue stream and what we call rate benefits for our members. It's really been a popular program. We installed 90 standby generators last year. We've now installed 380 generators since we started this new program in 2017. Also, just love the comment there from the member survey. The whole experience with Lake Region from start to finish was excellent. Just a nice compliment to the employees and the teamwork of serving our membership. Another big part of our rate stabilization plan has been the new natural gas company that we started a few years ago called Lake Region Energy Services, or LRES. We are now bringing natural gas and natural gas infrastructure to areas who have never had natural gas. This is all about improving the quality of life for people in the area that we serve, because we are helping people save money on heating their homes and businesses. For a typical household, we can help a customer save anywhere from $300 to $500 a year by switching from propane to natural gas. Really proud to say that we are now over 1,000 natural gas customers. We had 0 in 2017. Now we are over 1,000. And again, this gas business, when it brings in new revenue and also allows us to shift fixed costs off the electric cooperative into the natural gas company and recover it through the natural gas ratepayer, creates that positive rate benefits for all of us as Lake Region members. Here's some of the types of customers and that we have served, are serving now with natural gas and help improving the quality of life. The Parker's Prairie School up there in the corner there, they're saving money on their heating their school. How cool is that? Reducing their cost of heating that building, and they can take those dollars and directly invest them more into education for the kids. The community center in Dent, another good example of saving money. Churches that we've worked with, helping them save money. And of course our farm families, helping them save money on drying their grain and heating their turkey barns and their dairy barns. This has really been a motivating experience for us because we are helping people save money and improving the quality of life. Another investment that is helping us with our rate stability is Lake Region is now a member or an owner of CARS Tree Service. As you all know, we remove and trim a lot of trees from around those power lines out there. Last year, we trimmed or removed about 16,000 trees along all the power lines that we have. As an owner of CARS Tree Service, We share in the financial success of Karst Tree Service, and that comes back to Lake Region, again, helping us keep our rates stable. We've also done some really neat things with local renewable energy projects. This has been online now for a few years, but this is our wind solar hybrid project. This is owned by Joule Energy. We simply buy that renewable energy from the wind and the sun out of that project, and it interconnects directly back into our distribution grid and consumed locally by our consumers. You can see as an example the positive feedback we get from our members on projects like this. This was the first GE project that did both the wind turbine and solar together. Because of that, GE sent a team up here a couple years ago and put this video together on the project, and just wanted to show that for you. We've had this a couple years. You may have seen it, but we're pretty proud of it.
I've always felt that electricity is the lifeblood of our society. Nothing works without electricity.
We worked with the Lake Region Electric Co-op in rural Minnesota to design the hybrid electric solar and wind solution. This gave this very rural community a low-cost renewable energy solution.
This is the first true solar wind hybrid of its kind where we've utilized this technology that we developed with GE.
Hybrid renewables are scalable from cities and towns to small rural communities.
They're very complementary on how they work together.
We can harness both the wind and the sun in one project and bring more renewable electricity to our members.
With this renewable technology, there's no fuel, no emissions, no waste, no water, and it's by far and away cheaper energy.
It not only allows us to bring in the renewable energy for our members, but it also actually saves us money on our overall power costs. So it's more renewables, less cost for our members, and that's what they're asking for.
We absolutely need a greener, cleaner system. Hybrid renewables are our first step in the path to reaching 100% renewable energy.
When you go out the headquarters building and look to the southwest on a clear day, you can see the turbine out there. Take a look at that when you leave. The really cool thing about this project, a lot of things cool about it, but what's so neat about it is it's not only produced locally and it's renewable, but it interconnects directly back into the local electrical grid that you already own. So there's no new overhead costs, transmission, et cetera. And of course, it's consumed locally. So a very successful project for us. So how does this work with our rate stability? The 4 projects that I just talked about, the wind, solar, the gas, Karst Tree Service, the generator program, those things together create about a $750,000 a year positive rate benefit for our members, a positive financial impact for our cooperative. So we can create these new revenue streams. It helps us keep our rates stable. I'm so pleased to work at a co-op where our members, our board of directors, and our employees are motivated to do these new things, not only to improve the quality of life for people, but just making our cooperative stronger and diversified a little more. The second big reason why we've been able to keep our rates stable has to do with Great River Energy, our generation and transmission cooperative. They also are currently enjoying stable wholesale power costs. So if they can keep their wholesale, what we pay to them for the wholesale power, if that's stable, we have a really good chance of keeping the retail rates for us stable. As you know, the energy industry is going through a transition right now, and that's certainly the case at Great River Energy. I know we've talked a lot about this in the newsletter and things, but right now, Great River Energy is working through a process of selling the Coal Creek Station, the coal-fired power plant in North Dakota, to a company called Rainbow Energy. And Great River Energy will be entering into a 10-year contract to continue to buy power from Rainbow Energy over the next 10 years. As we look to the future, more and more of our power will continue to come from wind, solar, battery storage is on the horizon, natural gas. And all of this will lead to lower emissions for us, which also is a very positive thing. Now, when we think about our energy industry going through a transition, one of the things that's super important is reliability. I can assure you that your board of directors is laser beam focused on reliability. So when we talk about our generation portfolio evolving like it is, I wanted to talk about the reliability aspects of that. Great River Energy, again, we own about 3 to 4% of that company. We own them. They're a co-op as well. They have a modern fleet of natural gas-fired power plants in our state. Here's a picture of the 4 of those: Pleasant Valley, Elk River, Cambridge, and Lakefield Junction. 3 of those 4 plants also have backup fuel oil. So they're dual fuel plants. Again, just another level of redundancy, natural gas and fuel oil. The Cambridge plant, there's a plan to also add the dual fuel capability for that plant. And as David Segue, the CEO of GRE, says here, we have a fleet of modern power plants in Minnesota that provide our members with all hours reliability. Well, reliability is certainly important to us at the distribution level to serve you, and we are really doing a lot of great things to improve your reliability, continuing to reinvest back in your local grid. Really appreciated this comment because it really fits the data. Here's the historical trend of our power outages at Lake Region for our members. You can see it's come down significantly over the last 15 years, and as this member quote says, the last 10 years, it's already improved, and that's really what it shows in this last 10 years. We continue to reinvest in system improvements, tree clearing, as you know. I want to point out 2021, the numbers over here. If you just look at that top number, 2.2 hours per member for 2021 of outage time, okay? In my mind, that looks high to me. If you look at that 3-year trend at the end, our goal is to keep that number below 2. Well, if we drill down into that 2.2 hours per member per year, this green box, wanted to point out that last year in 2021, 0.8 of that 2.2 was because of what we called planned outages. That's an outage that we need to take. We'll let you know ahead of time, next Wednesday at 10 o'clock, we need to take your substation out or your power line out because we got a pretty significant project that we're upgrading there, and it's just a much safer way to do that project. And because of the number of upgrades that we did in 2021, the planned outages were higher than normal. Usually that's about 0.4, so it's about double last year in 2021. I've mentioned the tree clearing, which has been about $1.5 million just on tree clearing last year. Continue to go out and test our poles and replace them if they fail to test. 452 replacements last year. Want to talk about some of the new things we're doing. We are really focused on trying to use new technology to our advantage, being innovative about what we do, and also involving our employees and enhancing their engagement in everything we do at Lake Region. This new program, we call it our Distribution Grid Improvement Program, or DGIP. That's our map of our service territory. They're outlined in blue. Those circled areas, 10 areas, based on our data analytics, those are our weakest circuits, our weakest areas where members have the most outages. So we want to be laser beam focused, using that data, go out to those areas, analyze them, and come up with ways to improve them. We gave that information to our linemen, and we asked them, go out to these 10 areas. Use your knowledge, skill, ability, all your experience, put your eyes on them. Think differently about what we could do in those areas to drive outages out of those 10 areas. And they did that, and they did a great job. They brought that back, ran them through engineering, and now we're on a process to go back to those 10 areas and rework those areas. The ones that are completed are the lighter green. The ones that are not completed yet are the kind of the reddish color. But of those 10 areas, 2,240 members live in those 10 areas. And so we can work this from all directions and focus on these worst performing areas. I like to think that over time, our outage numbers will continue to go down. I'm really excited about this. This co-op was started 85 years ago. Next June, our annual meeting, that's our 85th anniversary, and we're going to celebrate that. But think about the founders and the pioneers of this co-op, and think about this as what we're doing today. This exactor technology is designed to prevent outages. Find a problem before it causes your power to go out. How cool is that? It's kind of a two-step process. This is the first step. That really smart box right there. First step is that technology in a vehicle driving along the power line makes 4 passes by that power line at normal speed limits, that box is sensing that power line every time. Once that process is done, it gives us information and says, you know what, here's the points on that line that we think you have a problem. And so the second step is we go back to those locations that it gives us, and in this case it's this pole. We go out there and use this piece of technology to scan the equipment on the top of that pole, and it'll make a sound, a certain sound when you go over a piece of equipment that's we think it's going to fail. And so what we found in this case is a bad insulator. You can't see the problem with the naked eye, but with this technology, it'll find it. And so the cool thing about this is not only is it good for reliability for the members, but if we can prevent these outages and go out there and fix them and replace them right away on a nice day like that, instead of waiting till it fails, got to go out in a storm, the guy's got to go out at night, much safer for our employees. Really excited about this. Probably going to take a few years into the program until we can really measure it. But anyway, it's pretty innovative. And again, if you don't mind, just board of directors, so much appreciate your commitment to reliability and safety. And this stuff's not cheap, but it's investing back in us. And really excited about this. Here's some of the findings. If we can find these problems on our system before they create an issue, a transformer, a regulator, an insulator, I'll say it again. Can you imagine at night in a storm going out with our linemen and trying to fix that? Wow, it's a game changer. All right, we are doing a lot to reinvest back in infrastructure. About 5 years ago, we were dissatisfied with the transmission service that we were receiving. The transmission system is the larger power lines, the larger substations that then feed down to the Lake Region distribution substations that feeds you as owners of Lake Region Electric. We met with our transmission services providers, Great River Energy, Otter Tail Power, and we had meetings. And what we came out of those meetings was we're going to put together a plan. We're going to analyze our entire system and come up with recommendations to improve our transmission system. These projects are what came out of that analysis. The first one here is a brand new substation called Schuster Lake near Perham. This was a $6.8 million project. This has already increased the reliability to 4 Lake Region distribution substations that are served from Lake Schuster, Frazee, Dora, Dent, and Perham. There's over 5,000 members of Lake Region who are served off those 4 distribution substations. And if you look at the before and after impact of this investment, prior to this new substation, those 4 Lake Region substations were experiencing 6.5 outages per year. Since November of 2019, when this came online, that number is down to 0, resulting in about 65,000 fewer individual Lake Region member outages. If you live in that area, I hope you're noticing the difference. Another big project, the Lake Eunice substation, which is a Lake Region Electric distribution substation. This is a $3 million project. It's located north of here in the Lake Eunice, Pelican Lake area. That was just completed last fall in October. And this was both a substation upgrade and a transmission line upgrade. I really like the old and the new pictures. You can see this was the old sub. This is what is there now, the new Lake Eunice sub. Here's the old transmission line. Here's part of the new transmission line that feeds the new substation there that serves over 2,000 Lake Region members. Clearly the members in that area will see now much better reliability from a transmission perspective. Here's yet another picture of the Lake Eunice distribution substation with the brand new transmission line coming in to bring that power down to us. And just a very modern substation out in our service territory, and this will serve Lake Region members very well for the decades to come. Yet another major investment from Great River Energy in our footprint is a $10.2 million project near Frazee. This upgrade was completed in 2021 as well. A new transmission line will be built to this substation in 2023. This new substation, rebuilt substation, will improve the voltage and reliability to over 1/2 of Lake Region's electric substations. Again, just the old look, and now what's there today, you can see the major investment that has been made. And one final one from GRE. This was an upgrade to the Henning transmission level substation. A $1.2 million project was completed last year. And so the 2,400 members who are served off our Henning and Stalker Lake substation will also see improved reliability going forward. One other one is more of a Lake Region project. We've upgraded our 10-mile lake substation, and out of that substation, rebuilt a major line there going underground, about an $850,000 project to improve reliability in that area. So these 5 projects that I just talked about are in these red dots throughout our service territory. The green shaded area are the areas where our members, because of these 5 projects, will see improved reliability. This is a total of $22 million of investment. We don't know of a time in our history where this much money has been reinvested this in short a time frame for reliability. 18,000 members should now be experiencing better reliability, over 65% of our membership. Major investments. All right, transitioning to our financials. How did we do in 2021? It was another really good year. This is a consolidated financial statement for us. And now that we have a natural gas company, this is both the Lake Region Electric Cooperative and consolidated with Lake Region Energy Services, our natural gas company. You can see the top line revenue there, over $55 million. We focus really hard around here on cost control. We want to be good stewards of your dollars, and that produced a total margin there of about $5.6 million for the year. As we have these really good years, the financial strength of your cooperative continues to improve. Tom mentioned the 45% equity goal that was achieved this past year. If you look at our balance sheet, we now have $66 million of equity there. That's up significantly since 2005, up about $43 million. With that strong financial performance, your board of directors, again, last fall, made the decision to retire capital credits, a total of over $1.8 million. We're now on a 17-year rotation. It comes now in three components, one from Lake Region Electric, one from Great River Energy, because they are a generation cooperative, and when they pay cash back to us, we'll flow those back through to you. And CFC, that might be a little bit of a new one for you. CFC, that's a bank that is owned only by America's electric cooperatives, and we're part of that. We borrow money from that bank occasionally for things like poles and wires, and they also, as a cooperative form of ownership, give capital credits back to us, and we've passed some of that now back on to the members. This is now 9 consecutive years of record capital credit retirements. Awesome. We've paid out $33 million to members since 1958. As you know, a cooperative, it's all about the people, right? And one of our really cool programs is our Operation Roundup program. It's all about people helping people, where each month we can opt to round up our power bill to the next dollar. So on average, it's 50 cents a month. That change goes into a fund called the Operation Roundup Fund. Volunteers from the membership serve on the Operation Roundup board, and they decide where those dollars are paid out to across our service territory and in the communities and to the people that we serve. Here's some recent examples to the Parkers Prairie ambulance team there, a couple $1,000. The East Ottertail 4-H Club, wow, how wonderful is that to help fund the 4-H clubs? How much good has 4-H done in our country over the years and investing in our kids? The Ottertail Youth Ski League, see a gentleman there giving the kids instructions. Boy, to support these types of things in our community is really important, and just want to thank all the members who participate in the program. I paid out, $92,000 last year, approaching $500,000 since the program was started back in 2007. You know, being a part of a co-op is really special, and about a year ago, this member, Leo Dahl, longtime member of Lake Region, during the pandemic here, he wrote a really inspiring letter to us. I've shared that at last year's annual meeting. Last summer, we had an opportunity to go out and hear in his own words what it was like when Lake Region Electric brought electricity to their farm back in the day. Wanted to share that video with you. if you wouldn't mind just trying to share that story of 1947 and 1948 time frame when you got electricity.
I farmed with my dad, and he had we moved in a small house, and I lived there when electricity came, 1948. And I'll never forget, we had the houses, buildings pre-wired for it, you know. And when the day came in 1948, we were thrashing, and they just couldn't get over the big yard light. At that time, it was just, you know, you turn them off or on the way you needed them. And it just went leaps and bounds from there. The change of life, everything changed. We could come in the house at night and see the floor. It never, you know, we had lights, but they didn't have anything like electric lights. And
then this old army truck came the next spring to set the poles up. Just pretty amazing process back in the day, digging holes by hand.
Well, yeah, they give us the tools or whatever, they borrowed them. The spoon shovel or spoon hook. They had to be 6 feet deep, and we'd dig them.
Wow.
And then in the winter time or in the fall, they delivered the poles. They just laid on the ground wherever there was a hole. And then in the spring, that old army truck come with a boom on it, and he lifted up the poles and set them in there. And at that time, the workers, they didn't have these trucks and hoists on everything. They had to climb the poles.
Yeah.
They had those wooden prongs on the shoes, and they climb the poles and fix it up, tie up the wires, and it was amazing to us. We kept watching them all summer, doing, you know, putting it together. And then in August, we got the current, and that changed everything. Everything changed for the better. It was really something good. We were able to get a small radio, and that was really something. And then we put one in the barn that had music in the barn.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite a history to it. Few farmers had these 32-volt deals to make electricity, and neighbors were always kind of anxious at that. And when they found out that they could get electricity, they just signed up like nobody's business.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I remember right, the going bill a month was $3.50.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know what is it now, 27 or?
Yeah, the basic charge, facility charge is $24. Yeah.
So, but it's a big improvement. Good workers, good upkeep. I really appreciate it.
A $5 membership fee or anything like that? Do you recall?
Don't remember that. I know Dad was one of the workers that went around the country and got the people to sign up for electricity, and that's the boom from there on.
Kind of what you were saying, I keep your letter right there because for me, we have to stay focused on you, the members of the co-op,
Yes.
and so in a little letter, it's got the history, it's got the gratefulness, it's got all the things we talked about, and that's just a good reminder for me every day. When I come to work, I sit down and that's what I see.
Really?
And that keeps me focused on the most important thing, which is you, the member.
There you go.
So, thank you.
Appreciation of saying thank you. Thank you goes a long way.
Yeah.
It really does. And we're very grateful for that.
Yeah, So glad he wrote that letter. Got to know Leo a little bit and his family, and unfortunately, Leo passed away here several months ago. But boy, the world needs more Leo dolls for sure. As I kind of conclude my remarks here this morning, I always like to say at these meetings, if there's ever a moment when you feel like we're not committed to serving you, please let us know. We want to work with you on whatever that might be. Just a wonderful picture here of all the board of directors and all of our employees at Lake Region, and sincerely hope you feel like this organization is committed to serving you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tim. Members of the district, the following will be on the ballot for your district when elections are held at the annual meeting in June. Charlie Blixt and Todd Blado. The ballot for election in this district will also include any members who have gone through the petition process. Now, after the meeting, I would ask the nominees to come find me. There is some paperwork that you need to fill out. So congratulations to Charlie and Todd, and thank you to Carrie, Denise, and Jim for running as well. So I would now turn it back to Joyce.
Could I just say one more thing? I forgot something. I'm sorry. I meant to pause and take questions. Is that okay? I know we're getting a little bit long, but it's so important we get members together. If you've got any comments, questions, just, Bill.
What does the United States do to protect from cybersecurity of our grid?
Yeah, great question. What is the United States doing to protect utilities from cyber attacks? As we all know, there's a lot of them out there. Utilities, because in terms of cybersecurity and taking precautions, at the local level, we do a lot of things, from the typical things. I mean, the firewalls, those types of things. We do a lot of training to make sure that we don't make a mistake internally and allow somebody to get into our data. You can imagine how serious we have to take this issue, because even just on the data side of it, I mean, if somehow somebody got in and got your data, how serious that would be. So our G&T, Great River Energy, they're very involved leaders in cybersecurity as well. We do drills. We have people try to hack into our system to make sure that they're doing everything we can. That's kind of going on at every level. Our national association as well. The head of that effort is a lady from Scotland who is a PhD, and that's one of her specialties. But yeah, it's one of those things in recent years we've really had to adjust to make sure that we're keeping everything we have safe. And I hope you feel we're doing that. It's pretty scary what can happen out there. We've seen that in utilities, the ransom type things. We've been fortunate at this point, but we're continuing to trying to stay ahead of that. And we've got some great in-house people here. The gentleman in the back of the room there, our technology people. It's a priority for us, for sure. Anyone else? Comments, questions? Yes.
I appreciate the investment in the gas services. Is there any exploration going on into internet services and providing that as another service also?
Yeah, great question. One of the challenges in our country is rural broadband. We've looked at that for quite a while. In our service territory, in a general way, it's fairly good. There's certainly pockets where it's not, and that's where we've tried to focus. Could we do something in those areas that don't? Because, I mean, RVIGs and Park Region, as a couple examples, they continue to put more fiber into the ground and get high speed out to those rural areas. We've had conversations with those two companies about how could we partner up. We've offered up, one of the things we've offered up is, hey, if you wanted to, we could work together with those providers, and you could put aerial lines on our poles and trying to drive down some of the cost of those rural areas. But we have not done anything ourselves yet. A lot of co-ops have, and in talking to those co-ops who have, we're probably in a little better position in our county and in our area than most. But wow, we've got to continue to. There's a lot of federal dollars available for broadband in rural areas. We're watching that, and just want to be more of an enabler in our service territory with others to make it happen. Great question. Thanks. Anybody else? Yes, Denise.
Can you give us any more information on that Rainbow Energy?
Yes, Rainbow Energy. They are the company that is working with Great River Energy to buy Coal Creek Station. They're not a traditional utility like Great River Energy is. Their business plan is going to be quite different than a traditional utility. But we'll continue to buy power from them for 10 years. They're hiring the employees who run the plant. So it's an opportunity for GRE to keep that rate stabilization and kind of build a bridge to the future. Mike's our GRE board member. Mike, you want to add anything to that as far as anything about Rainbow or the whole transaction?
What's important about Rainbow is that they are planning to use carbon sequestration. So they're exploring that technology to put that onto the Coal Creek Station. And then they're also partnering with some wind as well to bring wind back through that HVDC line. So those are the two other good points that Rainbow's working on with Great River Energy.
Yeah, good point, Mike. The 400 megawatts of wind that is going to come from North Dakota across the DC line that GRE already owns back into the Twin Cities metro area, that's really important. That's not only is it renewable, but it's a very, very good cost of electricity for us, and it's coming into the Twin Cities market. So that's a really positive thing for Great River Energy. Great questions. One more?
It's great to see the move to renewable sources of energy, but as we get away from coal, Department of Energy says nuclear is the most reliable. Is GRE or ELRIC focused on that source of energy?
Yeah, great question. As far as nuclear, and by the way, Mike's our nuclear guy in the room, but no, there's, in Minnesota it'd be really difficult to bring on any more nuclear. There is some nuclear activity and plants under construction in the southeast part of the country. Agree with you. It'd be nice to have more of that, but I don't think it'll be in Minnesota real soon. Maybe some of these smaller, more module type units. That's something as that technology develops and evolves, something we absolutely want to keep our eye on. It's from a power supply standpoint, it's so important just to have a kind of that all of the above strategy. We can't be a one supply portfolio, right? You want to have a good mix of base, fossil based if it has to be, as well as the renewables as we go forward. We live in a climate where, I'll say it again, reliability is king, right? All right. Yeah. There we go.
Is there a committee or a person who we can learn and stay informed with regarding future technologies or trends that you're looking to onboard over the next 10, 20, 30 years? Specifically things like virtual power plants or ways that distributed storage can be more efficiently brought into the grid, reducing that duck curve and the peaks, a more efficient peaker plant type of a solution where members can participate?
Yeah, great comment, great questions. Distributed renewable energy resources, or DER as we call it. Maybe a little example is that is things we're doing with the wind and the solar locally. We want to do more of that. We're working with Great River Energy right now. We'd like to change some things to allow for more local generation and storage. On the storage front, we've looked at that quite a bit. That hybrid project is one area we've looked at it. If we could have the wind, the solar, and battery storage all in one unit, that would be really good for us. The economics aren't real great on that yet. Another thing we're doing with the battery storage, and this is brand new, we're going to be working with our first member here shortly to put a small battery storage unit in the home on the member's side of the meter. And it'll do obviously two things. One, it'll give the member reliability through a power outage. And then if we can use that battery storage during peak times when electricity is really expensive, I think where it's at right now, the economics, it's probably this pilot program we're doing, it's probably gonna tell us it's not quite there yet on the economics, but we're looking at some other battery technologies and storage solutions. It's coming. And one of the things we try to do is try to stay ahead of those trends, whether it was back in 2012 when we did our first solar, the wind solar hybrid. We want to be your local trusted energy services provider, and we want to work with you. And we need to balance that, central station power, right, with local energy resources as well, because we know our members have a good appetite for that, and we want to be the company that can deliver that. Honestly, we prefer that, because when we did our solar, we could have just hired a company to come in and do solar. No, we got our members involved. We did community solar. Maybe there's a community storage project. Does that make sense? Possibly? Yeah. Thank you.
And so how can we stay plugged in to other communities or people responsible?
Yeah, when even some of these member engagement opportunities that we talked about, our team likes better than direct thoughts, inputs. I mean, like even the advisory committee, those opportunities. But wow, I had a member email me this morning, and he's looking at some battery technology, and he wants to come in and talk about it. So anytime, you're more than welcome. Where I hope you feel that we are very open, no matter what the issue is. That's how this co-op got started. People working together at the local level, and we want that spirit to keep going. Yeah, awesome, thank you. Yes.
This might be a dumb question, but I was just kind of wondering, what is the future of getting more lines and stuff buried underground? Any advantages?
Yeah, great question. One of the things that's changed that I think is going to help that to get more things underground is the cost differential between aerial and underground. It's narrowed quite a bit, and so we're looking at that. Some of the things that we're doing is we like to partner with other utilities, phone company, fiber companies, etc. If they're going into an area, and let's say we have overhead there now, if we can do a joint trench type of a project and reduce costs for both utilities, we're kind of proactively looking at that as well. Generally, for things being built new, it's generally underground versus overhead. Yeah, it's a little more costly on the front end, but you just eliminate a lot of variables in terms of reliability and tree trimming and all those things, obviously. So that's generally the direction that we're headed. Wow, just before I sit down, just being here this morning and looking at the quality of the people that are interested in becoming board of directors, wow, impressive group. Means a lot. Thank you.
I don't have much to say, but I want to thank the candidates for their willingness to serve the members of the district by running for a seat on the board. Your engagement is greatly appreciated, and before we adjourn today's meeting, I want to remind you that our annual meeting is the June 2nd at the Life Church in Fergus Falls. I hope you all can make it, and thanks for attending today's meeting. That's all.